All right, here we go. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Coach Hapa. I'm very excited to have you here. Folks, I'm here to answer your questions. So you tell me what it is that you want me to answer, and I'm here to do it. All right, here we are. We are live here in the studio, and let me actually just move something around because I'm hearing that right there too. But that's all right. All right. Well, today what I want to do is I just wanted to come on. I wanted to be able to help anybody who needs some live help. My name is Coach Hopper from the DJCoach.com. We are here to be able to provide access to all sorts of what it is that we do here: skill building, brand building, being able to help get you to the next level. And so today what I want to do is I want to jump in. I want to start with the topic that we've gotten questions about. And I get this all the time, asking about transitions, but also asking about how to get into manual beat matching. And there's a huge debate around sync, using sync, not using sync. I'll tell you what my stance is, and then we'll get in and we'll actually talk about it. I'll demonstrate a bit here today. Here's my take. When I first started DJing, there was no other option besides learning how to manually beat match. I learned how to DJ on a pair of turntables with vinyl records. There was no beat sync button. And now what we have is we have this great beat sync button that's here. I'm using a DDJ FLX4 today, Flex 4 controller. Works with Serato, Record Box, almost anything that you can imagine. You can plug in a mobile phone. But yes, the beat sync button is right here. And even more than that, not only just inside of the hardware, but also inside of the software, we have this sync button here. So should you use sync? Is it bad to use sync? That's an ongoing debate. There are some people that say sync is of the devil. And I'm here to tell you that it's not. It's not. It's a tool that you can use. Now, should you rely purely on sync? Well, you could get into some trouble if you did. So if you have certain songs that maybe were created with a live drummer, that would cause some real issues if you were trying to use beat sync because the beat grids would be off. Now, I see actually my buddy Lionel who's in here. Shout out to DJ L Tunes. We were talking about this the other day. There is a software called Algorithm DJ. I also know that this is now possible inside of Virtual DJ as well, where they have these fluid beat grids. And actually, the one inside of Algorithm DJ is pretty amazing. So, you could say, hey, coach, maybe we won't need to learn how to manually beat match even with live drummers and things like that. However, I will say this: learning how to manually beat match is a rite of passage as a DJ. And from DJ to DJ, it is one of those things that is a great skill to have under your belt. You will become more confident. The way that you play, you'll feel like you're more in control of what's happening. Sort of the equivalent like driving an automatic car versus knowing how to drive manual. You have a lot more control over what it is that you're actually doing. So, do you need to drive a manual car in order to feel like a good driver? No, not necessarily. However, it will give you the opportunity to be able to jump into any car, right? Like if you only knew how to drive automatic, there'd be certain cars that you just would be like, I can't move that car. That's a stick shift, right? So that's what I also want to get to here. So I'm going to break this down. Let's start here. Shout out to Steve, DJ Steve from California, who's in here as well. See you guys here. Appreciate you tuning in live and jumping in and being a part of this. By the way, if you have any questions that you are dying to have answered, feel free to put them in the chat. We want to prioritize those of you who are here with us live and joining us live. I'm trying to figure out, like, I've got audio coming through in the room as well, which is kind of throwing me off a little bit, but I think it'll be okay. I think we're okay. All right, we're going to roll with it. All right, so let's start by breaking down the steps for manual beat matching. So the first thing I'm going to do is this. We're going to go to Serato. We're going to disable our sync. We're just going to turn it off. I just want to point out where the sync mode is here. So right now I have simple sync on, snap to beat grid. You can also use smart sync. So there is a difference between it, even between those syncs. Essentially simple sync really just makes things the same BPM. And then if you hit it again, it'll snap to the actual um, beat grid. Smart Sync will actually pay attention to where the phrase is at. So this can actually make for a bit of a disaster, though. So inside of Serato, you'll notice that there are these darker lines that separate the phrase, right? So every 4 bars, you're seeing these darker lines, which is the phrase. So if you had Smart Sync on, when you actually sync, it will line up to one of those dark lines. So it'll line up the phrasing. Now, in theory, that sounds good, but in practice, it can be a complete mess. So there are songs that don't necessarily keep this 4 bar structure throughout the song. So you might have a song where there's then this little 2 bar section, and now that throws off the phrasing, like that throws off the way that that dark white line is situated throughout the rest of the track. So then if you're using Smart Sync, now everything is thrown off because so personally, I think I usually use Simple Sync if I were to use sync at all. Generally speaking, I do like to manually beat match, and I think that's a part of just because that's how I learned, and so I just kind of stick with that. Um, I'm going to use a bigger set of headphones today. Usually, I use in-ear monitors, so I plug in my in-ear monitors here. That allows for me to not have the volume turned up as loud and deal with like all of this stuff and like getting my headphones right. But I'm going to use these bigger headphones today so that I can kind of break this down for you. So a couple quick things. Number one, when we're going to beat match, we need a pair of headphones. If you don't have a pair of headphones, it's going to be really hard to manually beat match. You're going to be staring at a screen, which, by the way, staring at the screen and and moving the pitch control is not manual beat matching. Let's make that very, very clear. Manual beat matching would be that you can DJ even like this, where you don't see the waveforms. You don't see the waveforms. You don't see the current BPM. Actually, I guess you still see this. But literally, like manual beat matching would be turning off the screen and literally just using your ears, right? Like that's my definition of manual beat matching. Now, people might have different versions of this, but that's my manual beat matching is using your ears. That being said, when we plug in our headphones, I'll go back to the overhead here so you can see this. When I plug in my headphones are plugged in here. I then have the ability to control the volume of the headphones in here. I like to keep it a little bit lower. On this knob here, this is going to control how much of the cue versus the master, what's coming off of the speaker I'm hearing. I like to set mine all the way to cue so that I'm only hearing the song that's coming in next. And then if I were to actually set this up and mix here, like let's say I'm playing this song and I'm bringing this song in. Then I have this set up as cue. I'm not cueing the master. This is the way that I'm set up. Now, you may have a different way, but I've found that this is the most helpful way for me to manually beat match. Is I completely isolate, and for me, not only for me to manually beat match, but this is also how I've taught other people over the last 20 plus years how to manually beat match. Which, at the first school that I helped build, we started everybody on vinyl, and everything was on vinyl and turntables, and that's because it was 2004, 2005, and that's what it was. Over time, we continued to keep people on vinyl in the very beginning. Do I think that that's a good way to learn today? I don't know. I feel like it's a bit impractical unless you have a studio full of turntables and vinyl records and the whole thing, right? So most people, though, that are learning right now, that you're learning from me right now at home, you don't have turntables and vinyl records set aside. You've got a controller like this that you're using. And so headphones in. Okay. Now, what you'll also notice is I've got one ear in and I've got one ear out. So I don't have both ears in. I've got one ear in and one ear out. Now, my right ear is my cue ear. So right now, I can hear this. You can't hear this, but I can hear this in my ears, right? So I'm able to make adjustments without you hearing what it is that I'm doing. That's the whole purpose. I'm one step ahead. Now, the next step of this is we want to try and focus our efforts on minimizing our choices. So Let's keep this simple. This song is playing. This song is going to come in. This song is playing right now. This song is at 112 beats per minute. This song, the original tempo of it is 115. So I'm going to try to get this song to be 112, right? Like that's the whole idea. Now, in this example of what I'm going to do with you right now, I'm going to do this without looking at the screen at all. So I'm not watching the actual dial here of how I'm moving this. I'm going to do this purely off my ears as if I was back on turntables. Now, in the sense of what you're going to do and what you're going to watch here, you're going to be watching me and you'll be able to see how close I get to be able to doing this. And you're going to watch this process. Now, what am I listening for in my headphones? Well, I'll play this out loud so you can hear it. Okay, there's a couple of different sounds that we have in here. Our focus is the drums, though. Our focus is the rhythm and the drums. But is our focus on the kick drum or is it on like a snare? Like a snare, a clap. I'm focused on this, which is the snare or the clap, which is on the 2 or the 4. So instead of focused on the kick, I'm focused on the 2 or the 4. So it's going to look something like this. What I'm trying to do is I'm going to line up the 2 and the 4 with the 2 and the 4 on this side. The reason why I'm listening for the snare or the clap is it's at a higher frequency. It's a little bit of a sharper sound. It's a little bit more accurate to be able to line up to, as opposed to a kick drum, which a kick sound sort of takes up a bit more space when you are playing a kick drum. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do this. Here we go. This song's going to be playing. As this song is playing, I am matching this up in my ears. Let me go back to the very beginning. So this is how this would work if I was actually DJing live. Song comes in. DJ Hapa. This is playing. I'm now getting my next song ready. I'm making little changes, going back to the top. Now what I'm doing is I'm making little changes, like I'm slowing down just a little bit, and then notice that as I'm slowing this down and I'm temporarily slowing down the track, now I'm moving the track, or I'm now moving the pitch to be now a little bit slower. And then now that I've touched the pitch, I'm going back to the top to basically retry it again. I pretty much have it. Now let's see how close I was. All right, so this was this is actually really important. So look, I'm at 112.7 on this one, and I'm at 112 on this one. Now somebody might look at this and be like, well, coach, it was off. Were you listening to it? Because when you're listening to it, it was completely on. And the reason for that is because it doesn't need to be the exact same number to stay on for 8 bars. You'll also notice that as I was playing, I was adjusting the track. This is manual beat matching. This takes lots of practice. This takes lots of time of being able to get these fine adjustments. And let me just break this down a little bit so that you can see it a bit more. Let me see if I could do this where it's zoomed in a bit more. Okay, so as the track is playing, as I'm doing this, this is slowing it down. As I'm doing this, that's temporarily speeding it up. Now, both of those moves are temporary because as soon as I take my hand off, it's going to go back to wherever the pitch was set to. Like I call this the pitch, but it's the tempo slider now. It used to be the pitch on a turntable because when you would go lower in speed, it would, when you slow down the speed, you would lower the pitch, right? It basically made the turntable move at a slower speed, which would lower the pitch. And if you went at a faster speed, it would raise the speed of the turntable, which would create a higher pitch, right? Like there's this, it was connected. Now we have the ability to turn something like this on, which is my key lock, which then prevents this from happening. So you actually don't hear any change. You hear change in speed, but you don't hear the change in the pitch. If I were to turn this off, the wrong impression. I only have one to make. Right, so I do want to make sure that I keep that on. Most times I like to keep the original key on, just so that I'm not getting confused about what can go with what key-wise, right, and having key clashes. So hopefully this is helpful for you. I wanted to just kind of give you a brief lesson on how to do this. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. If there's something else that you want me to cover as well, put it in the chat. I'm here to be able to help you out. Whatever it is, you might be stuck on anything, or maybe you want my take on something. Feel free to put it in the chat. It could be gig related. It could be, anything DJ related. I often joke with a lot of my students. It could be life related. You need relationship advice. I mean, I could do my best. I could try to help. But feel free to put that stuff in the chat, especially for those of you who are joining us live. We want to make sure to prioritize the fact that you took time out of your day to be here. And time is the most valuable resource that we have. So please put something in the chat. I'd love to be able to help answer a question that you have. Beat matching, manual beat matching. I'm going to kind of close the book on this a little bit here. If nobody has any specific questions with manual beat matching, you should be able to do this without looking at the screen. So if you find yourself like, oh yeah, I'm manual beat match, but this is the way that you manual beat match. Okay, now they're both 112. Now I can manual beat match. Now I bring it. That's not manual beat matching. Not that there's nothing wrong with using sync. There's nothing wrong with using like watching the screen and bringing the tempo slider to where it needs to be. However, for those of you who are up for the next level, you want the next challenge, you want this rite of passage of feeling like, yes, I can, beat match on anything. This would be your next step, is learning how to do this. And again, it takes time. It takes practice. It took me almost 2 years to be able to get manual beat matching down. That was like practicing every day. The other thing I will say, one last tip here, is if I'm playing these two songs and this song is playing, I'm not touching the pitch of this song. I'm not touching. So in terms of like, oh, do I need to speed this up or slow this down? Or do I need to slow this down or speed this up? No, it's only two options. I either need to speed this one up or I need to slow this one down. That's it. My focus is on the one that's coming in. So I'll do this one more time, just as another example. I'm just going to move the pitch to be somewhere random. I'm going to go ahead and close that as well. Okay. I'm going to try to manual beat match. As I make changes, go back to the top. I'm only coming out to play. That's pretty close. Right, but you see how fast like you can do it, but basically every time I now touch the tempo fader, I then go back to the beginning. So in this case, I use the hot cue, the first hot cue, to get back to the very beginning, to give me a clean start. So anytime I touch this is a good rule. Anytime I touch this, I then go back to the beginning and restart so that I can get like a fresh perspective of like, did that work? Is that getting closer? Am I getting closer? It's almost like playing this game of like higher and lower, right? You ever play this game where like I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 100 and somebody throw it out in the chat. Actually, let's play this game. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 100. Feel free to put something in the chat. I'm curious. Give me a number. What number do you think I'm thinking of between 1 and 100? Let's see if you're here. 25. Okay, lower. lower than 25. Kai Suri said 25. So now we're able to really shrink our number, right? Like nobody should be saying a number higher than 25. So give me another number. Kai Suri says now 17, higher than 17, right? So higher than 17. So now we know that it's between 17 and 25. Give me a number, 17 and 25. We still haven't hit it yet. 20, lower than 20. So now we're between 17 and 20. Right? Now give me a number between 17 and 20. Right? Yeah, right. And we can't throw out 19. Okay, it's Kaiseri got it. He said 18. Right? So that's the idea. That's what we're doing here. So every time I move the fader, the tempo fader, that's like a guess. So this is like 20. No, it needs to be faster than that. Okay, how about there? Right? Like, how about there? Nope, that's too much. Okay, there. Right? Like, it's going to take you this, but you're not just only moving this. Every time you touch this, even just a little bit, then you go back to the top. So every time you touch this, you go back to the top, and that will help tremendously. The other big tip was you saw me moving. I got to be moving my body. If I'm not moving my body, it would be very difficult to try to do this, to be able to manually beat match. I mean, almost impossible to be able to do this without moving your body. Okay. All right. Thanks for playing my game. Yes. Shout out to all of you who are here. I see some of my Pro DJ Cert students who are here in the chat. Shout out to all the current Pro DJ Certs and those of you who are part of our graduating class of 2026, which will be happening soon in August in Atlantic City. Very excited to celebrate you. All right. Let's see. Anybody have anything that you want me to cover? Feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, I will move on to a quick mapping exercise that I'm going to do here. You know, if you've got something. All right. So I will move on to mapping in the meantime. And let's do this. Let me move this here. I'm going to take a track. And actually, I will take... Yeah, I'm going to take this song. Okay. Let's go to this. Let's change this up. Now, I've got two things on the deck. Right now, you'll notice that I did already map this, but I'm going to go ahead and delete all this stuff out. I'm going to remap this song. And we'll go through mapping. If you've never mapped a track before, mapping is super essential. It's a huge part of my overall coaching method, is to make sure that people understand how to get in and out of the songs that they're DJing with. This is what's going to build confidence in you. I think we've all probably been there at some point in time. If you've ever DJed in front of people live, we've all been there where you pull up a song and you're starting to play that song. And as that song is playing, you realize that you don't know how to get out of it, that you're not sure when to get out. It's kind of like playing when you were a kid, you see kids playing, they're like jumping rope, and you see kids like, trying to figure out when to jump in, right? Like that, you feel that anxiousness. Like, I don't know how to get out of this song. So mapping the track is really essential because it'll allow for us to have full confidence knowing I know how to get in and out of the song. So we're going to do mapping. We're also going to be following along with a color code system that I use. So yellow is 4 bars. Red is 8 bars. I'll put it up here on the screen in just a moment. But we're going to go through and do this together. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm trying to figure out the intro. So let's take a look. Shout out to Court DJ Kiombe, who put me up on this track, by the way. Okay, so we have this first section. I'm going to mark this off first. Got a horn in it, but all instrumental here. And then bass line comes in. Okay. So there's a little bit of vocal here. But this is really where the track starts, right? So essentially we've got 4 bars here. Then we've got 8 bars here until the actual vocal starts. You could call the whole thing 12 bars if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and break this up. I'm going to call this, for the most part, this is instrumental plus light vocals. Like, it's pretty light. We don't want vocals over vocals, but this is pretty light in terms of the. Let me get to it. You got that plus the horn. Depending on what you're mixing out of, that might be a clash. But this is like full on into the first verse. Okay, so we're not marking off every verse. We're not marking off every section. We're only marking the sections that we need to pay attention to. That's how we get in or how we get out. So in this case, I've got 2 places in. I can take this in from just this 4 beats. I could take the full 12 bars, or I could take it from this 8, or I could technically take it from this right up until, so the first 4 of this 8 section is all instrumental. In the second 4, she starts talking or starts singing. Right? So if I wanted to, I could also avoid it that way. It just depends on what I'm mixing out of, right? In this case. Okay, so I've got my ins set. I've also gone ahead, and you'll see over here, I've actually marked off. I've written on the actual track. So those are my notes. Right? I can pay attention to that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump ahead a little bit in the track, and I'm going to try to figure out where to get out of it. Usually I'm motion D, no, I got my phone on D&D. I love it when you drive me by the beach. Outside I'm a classy little piece, but inside I be ratchet in the cheeks. Wanna bust down, running uptown. It's so good it got me shook. Not yet. Got me showing down, it's a show now. I do anything to make it look. I set a hot cue here, but so this feels like possibly a chorus. But it felt like it built to this section. So to me, this section is the part that I want to stay into. Okay, so we've got 2 different parts here. We've got this, which really is the hook, but is really like the pre-chorus, in my opinion. Because if I were out of this track here, watch. If I were out of that there, I feel like I would be missing the actual payoff, right? It's kind of like going up the roller coaster or somebody telling you a story and never really getting to the what happened or like a joke and never really landing the punchline, right? Like I still feel like there's more here. And that is because then this next section comes in. To me, this is it. This is the part I want. So then I'm fading out here, and now I'm into the next song. Right now, the next song has taken over. Like that's where I want this to be. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this up. I'm gonna make this red for this is the actual hook chorus. Call this chorus, and then this pre-chorus, I'm gonna get rid of it. I'm just going to get rid of the pre-chorus, and we'll keep going. So now, if I were to mix this song quickly, I would be out here. This is all I would play to. So what is this? I've played 1 minute and 38 seconds of the track, essentially. And now I'm out of the song. And so you could see that if you're trying to build energy, getting out of songs in the first chorus is sometimes what you need to do. Now, depending on the situation, you might say, I'm gonna let this play a little bit longer. So I need to find another mix point out. So I can't just stop mapping here. I need to find another mix point out. Let's see. And before I do that, I just want to double check my chat that's here. For those of you who are joining us live, we appreciate you tuning in. We hope to be able to help you out today. My name is Coach Hapa from the DJ Coach. And let's see. If you have a question, feel free to put it in the chat. I see some friendly faces, some of my Pro DJ Cert students in the chat. It's DJ Fizz. I'm about to do my first wedding next week. Do you have any advice? Absolutely. And I'll get to that in just a moment. I have a problem when beat matching with the headphones. By the time I match the beat, hold on, let me put this up here for a second. Well, pause for a second. I have a problem while beat matching with the headphones. By the time I match the beat, going into some and out the other may not transition on time. Sometimes it takes a while for me to beat match. Okay. All right. Dance Coach Rudy, if you missed the first part of this live, I want to encourage you to go back and watch the first part of this live because I broke down the steps. But I'm going to give it to you real quick here too, just as a recap. And for anybody who's just jumping in and you're just joining us live here. So when it comes to manual beat matching, I did a whole thing where I did it twice, manually beat matching without watching the screen at all. Number one, you need headphones. You definitely need headphones. Number two, you need to know what you're listening for. So you're trying to line up the actual 2 and the 4. So this is a good example of this track. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That sound, that higher frequency, it's usually either a snare, like a snare drum, or a clap. Like you're trying to line that up. And in some cases, maybe you're mixing house. You still have a kick drum on every beat, but there still is some type of sharper sound on the 2 and the 4 a lot of times. Not all the time, but a lot of times. So you're lining up to that. Second, so that's what you're listening for. The third thing is you need to know what you're then trying to affect. So I'm trying to either speed up or slow down. And I'm only focused on one side. So in this case, what I was showing is if I'm playing a song on the left deck and I'm bringing in the right deck, I'm not worried about the left deck. I'm not worried about the pitch control. I'm not worried about anything on the left deck. I'm just focused on the right deck. So any changes that I'm making are going to be here to speed up temporarily or slow down, and here. And now as soon as I touch the tempo control, then I need to jump back to the very beginning of it again, just to be able to make sure that that worked. We played a game of guess a number that I'm thinking of between 1 and 100. We played this game because it's the same idea. I'm trying to like guess the number of the BPM. Now, again, some of you might be like, well, coach, just look at the screen and move the fader to be able to match it on the screen. That defeats the whole purpose. Like in that case, you might as well hit sync. Honestly, it would take you less time to just hit the sync button. You might as well do that. So, but if you want to be a bit more of a purist and you want to practice this skill of manual beat matching, then actually follow these steps. And then the last thing is, a couple of the key tips here are making sure that your body's really moving to it. Because the way I used to teach this is you're hearing two things at once. And that's actually not entirely true. Sort of you are, but really what you're doing is you're moving your body to the song that's playing, and that becomes your metronome. And then what you're hearing, you're trying to line up what you're hearing with what your body is moving to. So you'll notice like when I play, I'm constantly moving, like my body stays in motion to whatever the tempo is that I'm at. And basically everything I'm doing stays in motion and stays on tempo. Everything that I'm doing. If I'm hitting a button, it's on beat. If I'm loading the next track, it should be on beat. Like get used to like staying in tempo and staying in rhythm here. And that'll also be communicated to your crowd. But remember, we want to set the example. We want to model what we want our audience to do. So if you want your audience to be stiff and bored, then look stiff and bored. They will follow you. Trust me, they will. If you want your audience to have fun, you want them to move, you want them to dance, then you need to be the one to set that example. Like I feel like DJs, sometimes we forget that we are leaders up here. This is a place of leadership. There's only one person leading this party, right? Everybody else is following what we're doing. And it could be a party, it could be an art gallery, it could be whatever it is. It doesn't even necessarily need to be a party, like a dance party. But we need to model the behavior that we want our crowd to do. So just keep that in mind. So hopefully that helps. It also takes some practice. I also encourage you to record yourself. Recording is a huge part of this, and making sure that you do that because you'll learn a lot from the recording. So hopefully that helps. Dance Coach Rudy, if you need any additional help, reach out to us. We'd be happy to try to see how we might be able to help you. We've got a lot of resources outside of just these lives or these YouTube videos that we have. YouTube is great for certain things, but a big part of this, if you're here because, and you're also saying, Yeah, this is great, coach, and I like all the information, but I really want community. I really want somebody to be able to help mentor me. Like, if you're looking for coaching, that's really where our bread and butter is. Like, that's really where we shine. We're able to get the most out of our students that way as well, in terms of like getting them to their goals. Okay, cool. So thank you for sharing that. Let me jump back into where I was, and if you need anything, if you have any other questions, please put them in the chat. I also see Mike is asking, what's the schedule for these lives? Full disclosure, Mike, I was planning on doing these lives every Tuesday. I missed last Tuesday. I'll tell you why. I ended up having oral surgery last Tuesday, and I didn't know that it would really take me out. I've been on a liquid diet for the last week. It's been rough. It's been rough, but hey, I'm here. Everything is great. The sun is out. There's breath in my lungs. I'm ready to rock, right? And I'm able to do this. I'm here with you guys. I'm able to do what it is that I've been destined to do here. I'm living in my purpose, but I'm living in my purpose in a bit of pain. And so I was supposed to be here live last Tuesday, and it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen last Tuesday. I was trying to make it go, and even now I feel like my speech is different. I feel like there's certain things that, like, is, yeah. Anyways, I got a whole situation going on. Everything is okay though, but pray for your coach, man. I need to get myself back to full energy on this. It's coming. I know it'll be greater when it's done. But yes, every Tuesday, usually around this time, 1:30 our time here in LA. So yes, and for the foreseeable future, that's how we'll do this. I won't forget about the advice for the wedding, Fizz. I will get to that. And thank you, Doug, for the well wishes here. I am feeling better, good enough to be here and be able to share with you all, and to talk for an hour and some change. Okay, real quick, let me get back to the mapping, and then I want to get to the wedding. So in this, we've got our first. That's our first mix point out, 8 bars. Solid. So now what we want to do is we're going to jump down in the track a little bit and try to find where our second part out to be. Okay, so here comes that pre-chorus again. But you'll notice what happens after the street chorus, there's no more drums here. So check this out. This is very dope. Okay, so drums drop out. Just sort of have claps. Got the trumpet playing over that. Got her vocal. Okay, so now you could call this a bridge. Now, is this a place that I could get out? This one. Absolutely, that's a place that I could get out, right? Like that's, in fact, I don't even have to use stems here to get out, because the drums have already come out. So if I was to mix in another track here underneath this, I could use this other track underneath it to be able to fill it in. Now, because we're on YouTube, I'm conscious to not play certain songs, but I have an idea. And actually, the idea that I had before ended up sounding really good. And so here, if you want this track, I will make this track available to you. I got this from one of our students, DJ Kiombe. Shout out to her. But I was messing around with this on a live a while ago, and I ended up putting the I put the Hall & Oates. I can't go for that. I put the actual instrumental of that underneath this, which I'm going to see if I can play a quick snippet. Playing a little bit of this underneath that. And I mean, it locked in. It sounded great. The other thing you'll notice is these are in the same key. So you'll find different things. You'll find different ways to use stuff. But this is exactly why you map the song. So if you didn't map the song, you wouldn't know about some of these sections. So here, this is 8 bars, and this is 8 bars, and this is really, I would call this an acapella hook or acapella chorus, right? So that provides a great, and then we've got this actual bridge. That whole sort of call out. Keeps going. Okay, so we got basically like 16 bars of this bridge. This is like shout outs. Back to that pre-chorus. And then it looks like another acapella out. Let's see. Ooh. Even cleaner. Right. So you can see that like that might be a really good section as well to use. So again, the whole purpose of this is like you're like digging for different sections that you can use for the purpose of like finding intersection, right? Being able to bring tracks in and out and lining things up. So now that I've got that, it's already done. Right? Like even for me, if I were to send you this track, you would have all my notes, you'd have all my hot cues. And that's because I also mapped it in Serato. So Serato saves all the hot cue metadata to the actual file. Unfortunately, if I were to do this in Rekordbox, it wouldn't save the metadata. It sucks that that's the case, but that's what it is. So this is mapping a track. If you have never done this before, if you've never mapped a song before, I want to encourage you. This is a game changer. Game changer. And for those of you who are here that are some of my students that have adopted mapping, you please let people know if mapping has helped you or not. Like mapping changed my entire mixing 100%. And I was already DJing 4 or 5 times a week as a pro DJ before I started getting into mapping songs. But after I discovered this, it really just took a lot of the guesswork out of what I was doing as a DJ. And having a system down is critical. So if you want more information on this or you want to like go deeper with that, we've got some other videos that are here on the channel where we're breaking down mapping. Hopefully that's helpful. And yes, if you have any other questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Let me see if I've got let me go back to the wedding. I think it was Fizz, right? I think Fizz said, yeah. Okay, so here you go, Fizz. Do your first wedding next week. First of all, congratulations. Weddings are one of the types of gigs that I never anticipated enjoying, especially as a 20-something-year-old DJ. I was like against it. I will never do a wedding. Just the same way as I said, I will never DJ with a computer. Be careful of what you say. Always and never are 2 words that I try to remove from my vocabulary, are used very sparingly. A wedding is great, though. Everybody is there for this joyous occasion. Everybody is there to celebrate, right? And even if there is like drama between cousins or things like that, I mean, for the most part, the overall vibe is we're here to have a good time. And we're here to celebrate the bride and groom and the union that is here, right? So there's the table is already set, so to speak, in terms of the audience. A little bit different if you're playing like a club set or you're playing a bar and you're really having to win people over quite a bit. Now, that's not to say that like weddings are easy or easier. Absolutely not. In some cases, weddings are actually a lot more stressful because there's a lot more on the line, right? Like if you mess something up, it's a pretty big mess up. So this is often why like preparation is absolutely key when it comes to, getting yourself ready for a wedding. So I'm going to go ahead and use my whiteboard here really quick. And let's talk about some things that might be important for preparing for a wedding. So we want to talk about the prep. A couple of key tips that I would say is like your communication has got to be like on point. your communication with the bride and groom, your communication with the event planner or the day of planner, your communication with anybody else that is maybe going to help you out or is going to, come alongside you. The way that you even communicate with other vendors that are there, or with the venue as you are trying to schedule a walkthrough at the venue ahead of time, even maybe without the bride and groom, just to be able to see the space is happening in a hotel. You're able to drop by that hotel nearby and check out the ballroom and peek your head in and meet the event person that is there, that is there at the venue. All of those things are so important, like to be able to communicate and to be able to communicate effectively and professionally, right? Like that part is very, 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 very important. The other part of the preparation is when it comes to the music, this has to be, I'm gonna start using some C's. Okay, so custom or customization. Let's go with that. Everything that a wedding is should be, for the most part, should not just be off the shelf. This should be something like, these are two unique people that are coming together. This is the biggest, probably the biggest event or one of the biggest events of these people's lives. There should be some level of customization. This should not just be something, and I don't mean any disrespect by this at all, but I know people who shall remain nameless. I won't start putting people out here. There are people, friends of mine, who even have said that they reuse sets for weddings and that they just take a playlist and they're just going to apply the same playlist to every wedding. Or they'll get some other DJ who's maybe got more experience and they're just going to copy and paste this DJ's wedding set. Please do not do that. If you are being hired for this wedding, you should be flattered. You should be honored because they've chosen you for this wedding. You should inject you into what this is and fuse that with who they are, right? And you should find out who they are. So I like to ask lots of different questions to brides and grooms before, like leading up to the wedding. During this preparation phase, I like to ask a lot of questions. Where did you go to school? Did you go to college? Where did you go to college? Are any of your college friends attending this wedding as well? Oh yeah, yeah. Some of my best friends still to this day are folks that I went to UCLA with. Okay. All right. Great. Gathering information. I know that at some point I might need to play a fight song from a from a college, right? Um, what were you all partying to in college or in high school? Is there anything that, like, just, are there any important songs from this particular time frame or this era? How about between, like, you and your partner? Are there any songs that are, like, really important to you that you can think of, and start having people put together playlists? And on one hand, they should not be doing your job. On the other hand, this is a part of you getting some more information so that you can then fill out the rest. So it's not black or white. It's not, you're doing all the work, you're giving me all the songs, and then I'm just showing up and I'm just playing off of, basically playing your Spotify playlist. That's no good. The other side is no good either, where you're not getting any information and now you're just doing what you think you should do. Like, there needs to be something in the middle where you're getting this information from them and then you are filling in those gaps. You are taking your expertise of, like, oh, if they like this, they probably like this. If they're thinking like that, then maybe I'll prepare some things like that. Or, oh, I've got a cool remix of that song that could be really interesting. You're doing all of that work, right? So the customization part is really, really important when it comes to music. And, like, make sure that I'm clear with that. So music. This is me just all off the dome here too, by the way, of just, like, things. And by the way, if you have things to add in the chat, feel free. I know we've got some experience in the room. I'm not saying that I know everything at all. Like, I'm here to learn and grow as well, just as you are. I'm leading this, but outside of that, like, I'm learning from all of you just the same. Communication, customization, and I think the other part of the prep, I would say, is, here, I'll use another C. I would use a yeah, let's go with a C. What the companion. I'm gonna go with compadre. I'm gonna keep it a little unique here. You gotta come with somebody's got to come with you. Somebody's got to come with you to a wedding. Do not do a wedding by yourself. That is a recipe for disaster. And I know some of you might be like, but coach, I don't want to pay anybody else. I'm not really making a lot of money off of this. I don't want to pay. Trust me. Trust me. When things start going south, you will have wished that you had somebody else there. All sorts of things can happen as well. And I'm not saying that you can't do a wedding by yourself because you're not capable. It has nothing to do with whether you're capable or not. You're going to have a lot more fun if there's somebody there with you. Your compadre is there with you. You're also going to have somebody to help be a buffer. You have somebody to be able to help like grab different pieces of content as this is going on. You're also going to have somebody that's going to help you set up, that's going to be there, that you can kind of even chat with a little bit in between things, that you can have like a second pair of eyes and a second pair of ears, that you can have somebody go and run and get new batteries for something without you leaving the venue, right? Like there's so many ways where having somebody else there will help you out. And especially at the end of the night. At the end of the night, and you got there at 1 p.m. to set up for a 5 o'clock wedding. And now this thing has gone, and now it's almost midnight, or maybe it is midnight. Now you're breaking down, like breaking everything down, the equipment. Believe me, you're going to want to have that person there. You are spent. You are spent at that point. You want to have a friend there to be able to help you load this stuff into the car and be able to take that big sigh of relief and drive back with a smile on your face, drive back home with a smile on your face, talking about, different things that happened during the wedding. Like, believe me, that is one of the most fun parts of being the DJ, by the way, is those moments. Those moments where now the gig was done, it was an awesome time, and you're now reflecting on this and kind of debriefing together with another DJ or another person that came with you. That person also doesn't have to be a DJ. Bonus if it is, but it doesn't have to be a DJ. So hopefully this helps in terms of like the prep. I would say that like between all three of these things, they're all important. I also would start to think about moments. So I think a lot of DJs approach a set as like one set that looks like this. And it does not, like, DJ sets don't look like this. So especially a wedding, right? In a wedding, you're going to have this moment where, there is the ceremony. And then you're going to have this moment where you have cocktails. Oh, more C's. And then you're going to have this moment where you have dinner. And then after that, you're going to have this moment where you've got, these different things that are happening, then, full dance floor. And then in between here, there are also these other moments that would happen. There's going to be a speech that's given. There's a first dance. There's, all of these other things that are happening. You need to make sure that you understand where all those moments are. And you have to like start to plan around that. And so the organization, even inside of your library, a lot of times with a wedding, in fact, I'll show you here, a lot of times with a wedding, the way that I would do this is I would set up a wedding. So wedding live. And then in this, I'll start to create ceremony. This is my like ceremony music stuff. And then let me pull this all the way down so it's not as in the way. Okay. So then I've got my ceremony stuff, and then I might have like my cocktail stuff. And then even within the cocktail side of it, okay, even within the cocktail side of this, I might even break this up a little bit, and I might have like choice tracks, which are like things that maybe the bride and groom have like actually identified. Can you see this? It's like in the way. Hold on, let me move Fizz's thing. So now I've got like choice tracks, right? And then I might have other stuff that I fill in, but I'm going to start to break this up so that I've got it in pieces. And by having it in pieces, it'll make it a lot easier for me to then be able to digest the event as a whole and not miss anything. So hopefully that helps. I know that's a big topic, like the wedding side of it. Fizz, was that helpful? Do you feel a bit better about that? Hopefully you do. Yes, let me see. Flags mapping is so helpful. It gives you extra confidence in your set. Yes, absolutely. Duel, the doctor mapping is essential to proper blending, mixing, even loops. Yes. Um, Clags is looking for a DJ for his niece's wedding. Oh, to help you, Clags. Yes, because you're DJing it, but you need some help with that. Yes, absolutely. We probably have somebody in our community that can help you, Clags, with that. Fizz said that that's helpful. Okay, great. Great. Well, we've got a couple more minutes. I've got a few more minutes left. Is there anything else that you would like for me to cover right now on this live? We've covered quite a bit already. We've covered manual beat matching. We did a little bit of mapping. We got into helping Fizz prepare for his first wedding. Anything else that you all want to touch on? Let me check the chat. Okay, cool. Fizz is going to report back on how it went. Okay, awesome. I think that's like fairly it. I guess as a quick thing, many of you maybe already know this, but like on something like a Flex 4, some of you may not realize this, but I don't have any dedicated stem controls. I know stems are all the rage, which rightfully so. Stems are great. But I can replace my sampler mode with stems. So I went ahead and did that. And the way that I did that is if you look at inside of my Serato, went over here to the little gear settings and replace primary hardware pad mode with stems sampler. Okay, so great. So now I've got that sampler as my stems. So if I go back here, this now, and actually let me go to my 3 shots so you can see this better. If I go here, now let me get into right. So that's nice to be able to have that lined up here. Now, one other thing that I'll point out is if you, let's say you didn't want to sacrifice your sampler. Okay, so there, I'm going to show you, this is more of an advanced technique, but I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to show you how you can reassign the MIDI here. So in fact, actually, let me stay with that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back and I'm going to take this off. So I'm not going to replace the pad mode, the primary sampler with stems. So now this is back to stems. This is back to sampler. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, I'm going to use Shift pad effects. Now I'll use Shift beat jump. No, Shift hot cue. I'm going to do Shift hot cue. So I'm going to use Shift hot cue to control my stems. Okay, so now that I've done that, I've moved to Shift hot cue. You'll notice that the hot cue thing is blinking. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reassign stems by using MIDI. So I'm going to click on MIDI. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to reassign the MIDI notes to this. So now that is this stem. And I'm just overriding the original mapping, which was using the, I think it was keyboard. Oops. Okay. And then this one here, this one here, this one here. Okay. So now what I've done is I've remapped all of this. I did that fairly quickly, but like right now I'm back on hot cue. I'm going to turn off MIDI. Let me turn off MIDI mode. Okay. So I'm back on hot cue. Now what I can do is I'm going to switch over to sampler. Now I still have my sampler. DJ Hapa. And now I'm going to go Shift hot cue. And now this is actually for my stems. Pretty crazy. Pretty cool, right? So I now remapped the Flex 4 to use it's a secondary mapping that is underneath the hot cue. So underneath it, it was keyboard. And I just changed it from keyboard, which basically changes the key of the song, to now I changed it to stems, which is actually more useful for me. I hardly ever use keyboard, but now using stems, that allows for me to have stems and still be able to switch over to the sampler to have my sampler. All I need to do is hit shift and hotkey, and now I have my stems. So that is a really convenient way to take something that is already mapped and sort of remap it. You can do this with almost any controller. It's easiest to remap inside of Serato. You can remap inside of Rekordbox and things like that as well. You have some different controls, but you need to know what everything is called. So I don't know, that was a bit of an advanced one. Hopefully that helps somebody. Maybe that's something that you will use. Maybe not. Maybe just good knowledge just in general. But yeah, hopefully you guys got something out of today. We appreciate you being here. Let's see. Doug says, how do you receive effects? How do you receive effects? Doug, do you mind going a little bit deeper on that? Like, how do you receive effects? Like, how do you use effects? How do I use effects? Which that could be a much longer lesson here, like getting into effects. How would you do that with a 2-channel controller? This is a 2-channel controller, Doug. Are you talking about, like, this is like one of the reasons why I like to use a controller like the Flex 4 in videos like this is because this is $300. And almost anything that you could do with this, you could do with a more expensive controller. But a big part of this is if I were just showing off, like a Flex 10 or, a Rev 7 or something like that, you may think that like, oh, okay, that feature is only available on those controllers. Whereas like using something like a Flex 4, that is a simple 2-channel. Hopefully you understand that like you could then do this on almost any other controller. Like this has nothing to do with the controller. So Doug, I hope I'm like I'm trying to understand like how I can help with what you're saying about effects. In the effects, I have sirens. Are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the sampler, in terms of like the sound effects. Yeah. Okay, so if I were to go here and I go to my sounds, right? Like inside of Serato, I've got 8 slots for this, and I could trigger this all off of my actual computer, and then you're able to see like where the output is going. So right now I'm outputting to the master output. So all of these sounds are sitting above any of my channels. Like they're not here or here. Like they're not in channel 1 or channel 2. They're actually coming out of the master. So even if I had this all the way down and now I hit my sampler, DJ Hapa, right? Like this is all the way down and it's still coming out of the master. That's because my sampler is mapped to the master here. And so you can map to the 1, 2, or aux, which I don't know where the aux out. That's interesting. I don't know where the aux out is on the Flex 4. Let's see. Let's try it. Oh yeah, it won't even let me select it. So yeah, it's just 1 or 2. But if I put this on, let's say 1, then if I were to hit this, right, like if I were to hit now, you're not hearing anything because this needs to be on because I routed it through 1. So I'm going to go back just so I don't forget. I'm going to route it back through the master. Yeah, so hopefully that helps. I think that answered the question. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, okay. And then how do you change the pad effects on your Flex 4? How do I change the pad? Oh, like how to change the actual Yeah, okay. So this is like super interesting. On the Flex 4, when you go to pad effects and I'm playing a track, right? Like I have these effects. That's an echo out. Break. Flanger. I've got like somehow I've got my loop going here. That's all right. That's all right. I don't need it. So the bottom row is all like, this will stop. This is basically like a transition out. So the effects, you hit them once and then they sort of take their effect and they're out. How do you change these? You can't inside of Serato. It's very bizarre. It's kind of like a hidden thing, and I don't know how to unhide it. I need to actually ask my friends at Serato to see like if you can edit it. Inside of Rekordbox, you can edit these, but inside of Serato, you can't. They're just kind of built in, and you'll notice that they're not actually triggering the effects. So if I bring up the effects panel, there's like nothing. Oh, here you can't see this here on the effects panel. There's nothing that it's actually showing in the effects processing. They're just kind of like these phantom effects that are running. So because of that, you can't really change them, not that I know of. You could reassign them. You could reassign them the same way I did with like MIDI mapping, but you can't like change that to them be, instead of a 8-beat flanger, you want it to be a 16-beat flanger. Like there's no way to actually do that inside of using Serato and the Flex 4. Same was with the SB3. But inside of Rekordbox, you can make those changes and you can really dial that in and figure all that stuff out. So the Flex 4, by the way, is what's called a Rekordbox first controller. So a lot of people are using this with Serato. It's obviously got a Serato logo on it. Serato is a very popular software. But this originally was designed for Rekordbox. I mean, it was designed for both, but they have to prioritize, you know, when they write the things on, like the functions on the controller, they have to prioritize for either Serato or Rekordbox. The Rev 1 is prioritized for Serato, whereas the Flex 4 is prioritized for Rekordbox. And technically speaking, the entire Flex series is prioritized for Rekordbox. Those are all Rekordbox first controllers. They still are designed to work with Serato straight out of the box, and they were designed with the Serato team as well. But when it came to some of the decisions of where to put things or what to call things, they've labeled them based off of the way they're named in Rekordbox. So, fun fact, that's straight from our friends at Pioneer DJ. For those of you who don't know, we do a bunch of the educational content for Pioneer DJ, and so I have a little bit more, maybe a little bit more insight than most in terms of some of that, of like those particulars. But I do want to ask, I'm going to ask about that, about the Serato thing of like how you can change the pad effects. Maybe there's some type of workaround or hack. Okay, cool. All right. Thank you for joining us today. We hope that this was helpful for you. We hope that you had, you got something out of this. By the way, if you are looking for more help, additional help, you want to, you know, find out what else we have going on, feel free to reach out to us. You can always reach out to me. My email is very simple. It's Hapa, Hapa, at thedjcoach.com. You can also reach out to me on social media, or, you know, comment on this video or whatever, and we'll respond back. We try to be pretty good about staying active about our responses to folks there. And yeah, if you're looking to get into a course or you're looking to get into a team, we have some pro DJ certification programs that are running right now. We've also got some other courses that we offer on our side. Feel free to hit us up. We can find the right fit for you. Some of you are probably in between, especially those of you who are self-taught. You're probably in between some things because you learned the way that you learned. And most of us are learning by little bits here, little bits there. And sometimes there's some holes in what it is that we've learned. So we'd be happy to help you out. Our whole goal is leveling up DJs wherever you are. And thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you being here. We'll see you on the next one. Everybody have a good one. Bye, everybody. All right, here we go. Welcome in, everybody. My name is Coach Hapa. I'm very excited to have you here. Folks, I'm here to answer your questions. So you tell me what it is that you want me to answer, and I'm here to do it.